Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Helium 10 Weekly Buzz. My name is Bradley Sutton, and this is the show where we get you familiar with the latest news in the Amazon and e-commerce space. We interview people in the industry you need to hear from, and we provide a training tip of the week that will give you serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. Let's see what's buzzing this week. All right, we are going to be going over a variety of different news topics that have to do with sponsored display, something new there. We've got something about A+ content that was announced last week that's kind of cool that some of you sellers are going to be able to look out for. We've got a pro training tip of the week that helps you with your inventory management. This time I'm going to be sharing that with you. I'm going to be sharing you how I do that with Project X and inventory management. We also have an interview with Mina Elias. And we also have a Freedom Ticket clip of the week talking about how you should be preparing to exit from day one on your Amazon business. So I'm going to show you guys that clip. All right, let's go ahead and start with the news of the week. All right, this first article of the day is from Axios, and it's actually an interesting little piece right here. It's entitled "Scoop: Amazon lawsuit accuses company of selling fake seller feedback." And this article is actually kind of interesting because it goes in talking about that Amazon filed a lawsuit. It's like the first time it's ever done that against somebody who is selling fake 5-star, now this is interesting, reviews. But as you read this article, it seems to actually be describing seller feedback. You know, everything about here was talking about seller feedback. Now, this was interesting to me because this article said that this company was offering $300 packages for 10 reviews. And I'm like, why in the world would anybody pay $300 for just the seller feedback? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. And then $800 for an enterprise package for reviews or for seller feedback. So this is kind of interesting. First of all, the important factor is it doesn't matter if we're talking seller feedback, doesn't matter if we're talking product reviews. Guys, don't be using these websites or review groups and stuff. Amazon will crack down on it. It's not worth it. You don't need to do that. But the other thing is that I found interesting was that this could be a website based on seller feedback. So, you know, are you guys concerned with your seller feedback? You know, in your metrics, it's very important to have your seller feedback as close to 100% as possible. Don't forget, guys, use your Helium 10 alerts to make sure you get notified when you have seller feedback. For example, if you are only, and this is why I can't understand why somebody would pay $300 just to improve seller feedback, but if you guys have alerts on, whenever you get a notification you have negative seller feedback and you're just doing FBA, 9 times out of 10, guys, you're going to be able to get that seller feedback removed by Amazon itself. Because usually it's a product review, which Amazon doesn't allow, or maybe the delivery was late. But if it's FBA, that's Amazon's fault. So Amazon will remove that for you. So make sure, guys, go into Helium 10 Alerts, turn on the notification for negative seller feedback, and then go into Seller Central and make sure that you are trying to get those seller feedback removed. Don't go pay $300 to some shady guy who's going to give you positive seller feedback. It's not worth it. All right, the next article we have was actually directly from Seller Central. And they announced that they are offering premium A+ content. All right, so this is interesting because before, I think this was like something that was very, very costly. But as you guys can see here from the article, they're saying that premium A+ content can increase your sales by 20%. I'm not sure about that, but regardless of what the actual amount is going to be for you, I'm sure it varies. You know, it's anytime you get access to new features, you should definitely be implementing it. So the key part of this here, as you guys can see, it says you can get qualified if you have had at least 15 A+ content projects approved in the last 12 months in each of your stores. Then you're going to be eligible for that. So go ahead, guys, go into your news and make sure to click into this so you can get more information. There's like this whole help article that explains it a little bit more, and then you guys can see if you qualify for it. Next article here is from socialmediatoday.com, and it is entitled "TikTok Launches New Order Center E-commerce Tracking Hub with Selected Users." So those of you who are watching this on YouTube, you can see like a screenshot of one of the people who have this in beta. It's actually a button that says Order Center right here in the TikTok app. And this is somewhat noteworthy because, you know, TikTok is definitely making a move to try and make sure there's more synergy between creators who are trying to sell products right there. It's kind of, a lot of creators, this article goes on to say how they've kind of complained how it's kind of a broken process here, and they want to shift. TikTok wants to shift a little bit more towards e-commerce. The Chinese version of the app is very, very popular, the e-commerce part, but they haven't really been able to get that working much on the US side. So this is a step in the right direction perhaps for them. And, again, anytime that you can tie social media into e-commerce, that's going to affect you guys as Amazon and Walmart sellers. If you have your own TikTok, if you have these other social medias that are integrating these kind of buttons, remember we talked about that a few weeks ago with YouTube and Shopify. If you guys are on these platforms, got to make sure that you take advantage of these new features and be one of the first ones to be able to incorporate these buttons and be able to sell your products directly. Another article that we have today is called Sponsored Display Launches View Metrics. Now, this is kind of interesting because if you guys are watching this, look at the day here. Today is August 10th. So somehow we went back to the future here because the date on this article from Amazon is August 30th, 2022. So I'm not sure if this was just a typo or maybe this means that it's not going to be active until August 30th. But basically what launched, it says here, quote, "We launched View Metrics for reach optimized sponsor display video ad groups, which provides advertisers with new sets of key metrics." All right. So a lot of these are called, or a lot of these have include video midpoint, video third quartile, video complete, video unmute, and click-through rate. So these are you're going into details on how people are viewing your sponsored display video ads. Sure, you can see an impression or a view, and that gives you some insight, but how many people actually went and unmuted it because they were intrigued, by so that you can just kind of imagine the kind of insights now you have. Like if you have a video where nobody unmuted it, well, ask, what do I need to do to change this video because I need to make sure they unmute to get the full benefit. So this is interesting. Make sure to guys check this in the advertising website here for all of these details on this feature. It's going to be available in North America, South America, Europe, Middle East, and Asia all at once. So sometimes things just start for Amazon USA, but this one actually is for multiple marketplaces. One more article that just came out, or kind of new thing that happened. Thanks, shout out to Jeff Cohen and Josh Gebhardt, Gebhardt. I hope I didn't butcher your name there, who gave me a heads up on this, but it was something I saw in LinkedIn around yesterday. But Josh from Amped, and Jeff from Amazon said how there's now a change when you send advertising or from Google Ads, or you send a link, an attribution link from Google Ads to your Amazon product page. Now, what was happening before? I'm going to show you this clip from Amp's website here. What was happening before is, you're paying for this traffic from Google Ads, right? And it goes to your product. Well, there was this little widget that says customer who viewed this also viewed, like at the top of the page. I didn't notice this much, but here's a screenshot of what that looked like. So maybe you spent money to send somebody to your product, but then they bounce off your page and go buy another product because they see it right there at the top. So now what's going to happen is if you're sending with an attribution link, all right, to your product display page, there is no longer going to be competing products there. As you guys can see from the second screenshot here, it's only going to show products from your own brand. All right. So this is kind of cool for those of you who are using Amazon attribution. Don't forget, you can use that within Helium 10, create your attribution links there. But if you're using attribution in conjunction with Google Ads and you run an ad on Google, somebody clicks on it, they go to your page. Now you don't have to worry about competing products popping up at the top of the page anymore. It's only going to be your own product. So that's kind of a cool update as well. All right, so now the next piece, I wanted to give you guys a really short clip of the week, and this is from Freedom Ticket and Scott Dietz from Northbound. And this is something I think sellers, regardless of what level you are now, even if you're just starting off or you've been selling for a while, need to think about, because it's something that I would say 90% of sellers, they don't have this kind of mentality about setting up for your exit, or they might not even know that an exit is so valuable. So let's go ahead and see this clip to understand how you guys should be setting yourself up mentally when you start an Amazon business.
First reason why you should plan your exit from day one is you might not be aware of this, but over 50% of the money you ever put in your pocket will likely come when you sell your business. Let's take a look at this. So as you can see here, we have an after-tax lifetime business analysis graph. And in general, on average, an Amazon business owner will take a minority of the profits out of the business while they're growing it. They'll take a little bit more between where they are today and before they exit. But as you can see in this graph, which we ran on a real customer, 65% of the money that they ever received from their business comes on the day that they exited. And I'll talk you through a little bit why that is the case. First, you're always funding your growth. One of the things that you need to realize when you're in an entrepreneurial mode is that as you grow and you make more profits and you release more products, you're typically reinvesting a portion of that. Certainly we don't recommend all of that, but a portion of that back into the company to continue to grow it. Second, in the tax code for most jurisdictions, you'll get a lower tax rate on on capital gains than you get on ordinary income. So even though you make the same amount, when you make more money from exiting, a lot of it is because you're looking at it from an after-tax basis. And then finally, one of the key things to recognize is that there's something called a lifetime effective multiple. And oftentimes when you exit, you're doing it in a structure where you'll get paid a certain amount at the closing of the transaction, but then you'll actually be rewarded through something called an earnout that rewards the future growth in the business. You put all three of those things together, and another way to say it would be is that if you don't exit your business, you're leaving more than 50 cents out of every dollar that you could be putting in your pocket on the table. So if you haven't thought about exiting before watching this module, we certainly want to make sure that you do afterwards. In fact, I'm such a strong supporter of this. I believe that knowing how to build and then exit your business is actually the single most important aspect of running it. And why do I believe that? Because it is this last step that will pay you more than all of the other steps combined.
All right, thank you for that clip. If you guys want to see the full module there in Freedom Ticket, that was taken from module 3.11. So in week 3, 3.11. And make sure to check that out. Scott Dietz is a genius when it comes to this kind of thing. So make sure to check both of his modules there in week 2. Now at this time, we're going to go ahead and have Carrie interview somebody, a familiar face in the industry. And let's get a little bit more background on how Mina can help us out.
Hello, everyone. And today I'm very excited because we have Mina Elias here with us. So thanks so much, Mina, for joining us.
I'm super excited. Very happy to be on.
Yeah, thank you. So a lot of people know you in the industry. You're really pretty well known, but for anyone who is out there who doesn't know about you or, what you do, can you just kind of give us a little brief background about who you are and what you do?
Cool. Yeah. So I was born in Egypt, raised in Dubai, came to America in 2011, studied chemical engineering, got my bachelor's, master's in industrial engineering, and then worked up the corporate ladder. I worked at a $30 billion medical devices company, 9 to 5, the typical, I fulfilled my parents' dreams basically of like getting good grades. I graduated top of my class, good grades, good job, everything. But then like 5 years later, after moving to a couple other engineering jobs, I realized that I was very unhappy with my life. And I felt like basically felt like a little bit like I was a slave. And I was a slave to the money, a slave to the job. And I hated that feeling. I felt like my life was kind of being sucked away from me. And I just wanted to get out. So I decided to start a supplement brand because I've been fighting MMA since 2013. And I'm incredibly passionate about supplements and like biohacking and all of this stuff. So I created an electrolyte powder and I tried to sell it door to door in gyms and supplement stores. And it was the most horrible thing ever. And it was very inefficient. And I was also doing this on top of my full-time job. So it was like, logistically, it was impossible. And I said, why am I even doing this when I buy everything on Amazon? And so I'm like, let me try and get into Amazon. I called Amazon. They actually answered. And which was, I don't even know if we can get seller support on the phone now, but I called Amazon. They answered. They said, we'll give you, this is how you apply and onboarding, all this stuff. Long story short, I got on Amazon and then I got super obsessed. I watched some YouTube videos. I'm like, how do you sell on Amazon? And I saw some YouTube videos. I found out about Helium 10. I downloaded it. I was using the free plan because I was too cheap at the time to do anything. And I just got fully obsessed. And basically a year later or 6 months later, after like being fully obsessed, I started making actual profits on Amazon, doing like $4,000 a month on Amazon. I got fired from my full-time job, and Amazon became my full-time gig. And so I started sharing all of my knowledge and everything in the Facebook groups and stuff. I got a pretty big name. An aggregator in 2021 reached out to me to build their in-house team and help them with their PPC for PPC, and because I was really good at PPC. And I said, okay. They said, we want to test you, on one of our accounts. Turns out they were testing me against 6 other agencies, and I beat them all out. And
Whoa.
that's when I decided to start. I said, this is it. Like, yeah, I'm like good at supplements, but I'm great at PPC. And that's when I found like something that I really, really like enjoy doing. I love like B2B and meeting people and helping brands and all of this stuff. And it was a great fit. And now, a year and a half later, it's been amazing.
So now you have an agency and you offer PPC services. What, is it full management? Is it certain types of sellers, or what kind of management do you do now?
So essentially, it's like a partial team. The way that we do it is you get partially a full team, which is a PPC, like a senior PPC manager, like an operations person, a PPC strategist, so someone who's in doing the day-to-day, and an analyst, and then on the back, a QC person. So you get a full team that is literally designed to not make any mistakes and to run all the ads, in the most like efficient way possible. I give away all of my strategies and tips and tricks and secrets, all this stuff. There's really nothing special. It's just literally like relentlessly executing things, making sure no one ever misses a beat, making sure you don't spend $1 more than you have to on a keyword that you're testing, things like that. So basically PPC and DSP, and it's not any seller. It's generally sellers that are more established, have revenue, so they can afford us and we can add value. And if they can't afford us, I give them all of my trainings as much as I can for free, so that they can kind of watch and learn and implement things and get to a point where they can then bring us on. But generally brands that are doing maybe 500K a year in revenue or more, with up to 10 parent ASINs and decent conversion rates. Because if your conversion rate is bad, we can't do anything. All we can do is send people to your listing. That's it.
True. That's very true. And it's cool. If somebody's learning, they learn the strategies and then they know they work. So then they can pass it on to you and know it'll just be continued on. So that's awesome. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. And can hold us accountable. We can see if we're lying or not.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's really good. Awesome. And something else I wanted to mention is you're going to be at Sell and Scale, right? And what are you going to be doing at Sell and Scale this year?
So I'm super excited to be at the first ever Sell and Scale. I have I'm speaking. I have a Q&A session. So it's not going to be a regular speaking session where you get up on stage and you do a presentation. I literally be in a room and you can ask me anything. And so an hour of rapid fire, ask me as much as you can. But also beyond that, I'm going to have a booth. I'm going to have a booth there. So for 3 days, you can find me at my booth. If you see me, bring your laptop, open it up, connect to your phone if you're afraid of connecting to the Wi-Fi, and we'll answer anything you want. I'll look into your campaigns. We'll like fix any problem that you possibly have. Like whatever problems you have, there's a 95% chance I can fix it. So come and find me. I'm very excited, and I love Vegas. Prosper is usually super fun, so this is going to be even more fun because it's like Helium 10 is doing it. It feels like a big family.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. So that's Sell and Scale Summit. It's in September. If you haven't gotten your tickets, definitely go get your tickets before they run out, and you can have access to Mina there. Also, what's another way if they wanted to contact you now? Like, what would somebody need to do to find you?
So Facebook is pretty easy. Mina Elias. LinkedIn, same thing. MINA, last name ELIAS. Instagram at the Mina Elias, and I'm pretty accessible. If you ask me a question, I answer it.
Well, thanks so much for sharing a little bit about your background and about your agency. And so again, you definitely don't miss out on this Sell and Scale Summit. And thanks again for joining us, Mina. It was really fun talking with you, and we will see you all later.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Carrie and Mina. actual cool announcement coming up next week. Has to do a little bit with one or two of those people in that interview. So guys, make sure to tune into Bigger.Better.Launch. I'll have a link later for that. But anyways, the pro training tip of the week. We always like to give you guys different tips on how to use Helium 10 or off of Helium 10. Today, I'm going to be sharing something that actually is within Helium 10, and it is the inventory management. This is so important. So first of all, why should you be tracking your inventory? I think a lot of people can kind of understand that, we have two sides of the coin. You don't want to have too much inventory on hand. It's kind of like sleeping, your money is sleeping, and it doesn't do anybody any good for you to have, 12 months of inventory and tying up all your cash flow. Or if it, even worse, if it's all on Amazon and you're being charged storage fees. On the flip side, nobody wants to run out of inventory and then your sales go to zero. You might lose your page ranking and might be hard to bring that back. So very, very important to always manage your inventory. A lot of people don't realize Helium 10 has a very robust inventory management system that has a lot of very unique features. Let me show you how I personally, I run inventory management for multiple accounts. So let me show you exactly how I use it. So let me share my screen here. And I'm right here within inventory management. And this is the Project X page here. So one thing that's important is I have my own warehouse here. Maybe you guys store product in your garage. Maybe you guys have a 3PL, but what I do is I send my inventory to my warehouse first. And so that's what this local tab is. So you guys can go in and say, hey, you've got, like, for example, here's the giant coffin combo. I've got 216 units here at my local warehouse. All right. So that's important if you guys have a 3PL, because then what happens is when my inventory on hand at Amazon, and you can see here, this is what is being tracked at Amazon. And inbound, when it gets low, it's going to tell me, like, okay, hey, this guy has 216 units in his warehouse. Let's go ahead and make sure that he transfers some over. Like right now, there's only one transfer status. By the way, guys, the reason why I'm not transferring this that you guys can see on the screen is because I don't have boxes for it. So I'm not that bad. I understand that if I have zero inventory in Amazon, I need to send it over. But anyways, that's why I didn't transfer this over. But what it's telling, it's telling me like, hey, you've got zero on Amazon. You need to transfer all 41 of your units from your warehouse there, dummy, is what it's telling me. But this is how I know when to transfer. For example, here is the Geese chicken coop stackable egg rack, and it's saying I have to transfer soon. It's telling me that in about a week, I'm probably going to need to transfer based on the current velocity. So this is very helpful. Now, the cool thing also about this is, let's say it's time to transfer, right? Let's say this is today. I'm going to click this right here, and then I actually can do actions right here and create transfer shipment. I can create the transfer shipment that goes to Amazon directly from Helium 10. I don't even have to open up Seller Central until it's time to do my shipping labels and stuff. So it's going to tell me which warehouse it's going to go to, how many units, and I said all that stuff that I would normally have to do in Seller Central. I'm going to do that right here. Now, why is that helpful, guys? All right, here is one thing that this makes this super cool. Have you guys noticed out there when you are creating your transfer shipments or your replenishment shipments, that Amazon sometimes takes 2 or 3 days to even have it show up in the inbound inventory? That's true. Like they have a new way of doing it where they only do it if there's some kind of like tracking information on it. But here, if you do this in your restock suggestions page, you're going to see it right here in the inbound right from when you do it, because you created it here. So it's going to be 2 days ahead. What was happening to me before is I would be looking in Seller Central and I didn't see anything on the inbound. And so I went and I thought that I forgot to ship it, because I'm not the one physically doing it. My family's the one doing it. I was like, oh, I must have forgot to tell them. And then what I did was I was like, okay, you guys got to ship another, 100 units. And they did it. And then all of a sudden the next day, 200 units show up as inbound. And what happened was because Amazon does not update your inbound in real time. And so here's one way that Helium 10 inventory management can help you. Now, when we think inventory management, the main thing we actually think about is reordering. All right. So I actually just did reorders based on what inventory management was telling me. But let me show you guys how this works. So I'm going to go into the details of this Geese chicken coop egg tray, right? And right down here, of course, I have my product costs and shipping costs. I'm able to put in what are my like lead times and things like that. So Lead time is how long it takes to get to like Amazon's warehouse from the time I commission it. All right. That includes the shipping, manufacturing. And then I also put how often I want to order and what the case pack is. And then the cool thing about Helium 10 is we have a lot of different algorithms that you are able to use in order to calculate how you want us to help you with your inventory replenishment. So for example, right here, I have this on the additive forecasting type. What that means is if I've got 1, 2, 3 years of history, Helium 10 is going back and checking out the seasonality and the peaks and valleys of your sales. So, like let's say the egg tray, sells really good in March. Well, maybe in February, your egg tray sales are very low. Helium 10 is going to know, what? The busy time of year is coming up in March. We got to forecast, for that. All right. So that's the additive. If you have a brand new product though, what you need to select is the exponential. And that just uses a different kind of advanced algorithm that takes a look at your recent velocity, but it doesn't take it as an absolute number. Like it's not just taking a certain 10-day velocity or 5-day velocity. It's an advanced algorithm that helps with the even the little peaks and valleys that you're having in the last month. However, some of you guys just want to use a standard, 7, 14, 30, 60, 90, or 180-day velocity. What that means is we're going to give you forecasting suggestions based on what your 60-day sales velocity or your average sales per day is. Tons of different options here, guys. So make sure to set that up. And then of course, right here in the tool, you'll be able to see where your inventory is. Like, look at this. I have very few units. It's actually only being stored at 5 different Amazon warehouses. So I probably need to increase my inventory in Amazon to have a little bit wider distribution right here. All right. So what else in restock suggestions? Once I'm actually, it's actually time to reorder, I can actually create the PO right here inside of inventory management. So I would do that by hitting actions and create purchase order. So right here, I can create the PDF file. It'll have all my suppliers information, my costs, the quantities, the pack size, and I can just download that and email it right to my supplier. And then again, once I create the PO here, I don't have to go enter it into some spreadsheet or anything like that. It's going to tell me that it's on order. So as you can see, I have a bunch of coffin shelves and egg trays and things on order right here because Helium 10 inventory management went ahead and told me that I needed to get ahead in this. So guys, this is something that is available to paying members of Helium 10. So those of you with platinum, diamond, and above, make sure you guys have activated this so that you can know when to reorder inventory, when to send it into Amazon, and allow you to cut your POs right from inside and create your transfer shipments. If you guys have any questions on how to use this tool, just go ahead and reach out to our 24/7 customer support. All right, so you guys know once a month we have a Bigger, Better Launch webinar, all right? And that time is coming. It's going to be next week, Thursday, all right? So I want you guys all to sign up right now to get notified so you can put it in your calendar. Just go to helium10.com/launch, helium10.com/launch, and you'll be able to register. It's going to be next Thursday at 11 a.m. And it's going to be a little bit different vibe. So make sure if you guys haven't come to anyone, this would be the one to come. For the first time ever, I'm still going to give you guys our new launches that we're doing. We have a couple new features and tools that we're going to be mentioning. But also what I did was we took a bunch of experts in the space and we were like, hey, we want you guys to give us a cool strategy or hack or tip on Amazon or Walmart that we can share with our audience. So this is going to be a strategy fest. Think about a whole 30 minutes just based on like our 30-second tips like we do on the podcast, like nonstop bangers of amazing tips and strategies. So that's what we're going to be doing at the beginning of this webinar. So make sure to sign up, helium10.com/launch. I'll see you guys next week, and we'll see you next week also to see what's buzzing. And next week, we're going to actually have the buzz on Thursday instead of Wednesday. So I know normally we broadcast this on Wednesdays. It's going to be Thursday next week, right after that Bigger, Better launch. So I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye now.